Subscribe now. If you're brave enough to keep watching, it was 2:28 a.m. when the taxi left the city's main strip, the kind of hour when even the streetlights seem half asleep. The driver, Richard Clay, had been working night shifts for over 10 years, ferrying drunk clubgoers and late workers through the quiet maze of suburban roads. But this fare was different. The passenger, a young man named Adam Moore, looked uneasy from the moment he climbed into the back seat. He kept glancing at his phone as if waiting for a message that never came. The destination was simple 12 miles outside the city, down an old service road that most drivers avoided. "Shortcut," Adam had said, voice tired. Richard shrugged and started the meter. The night was silent, the road empty. Even the radio struggled to find a station, fading in and out with bursts of static. At first, it was just an ordinary drive, the faint hum of the engine, the rhythmic blink of the dashboard light. But as they turned onto the narrow back road, the headlights flickered once then again. Richard tapped the steering wheel nervously. "Old wiring," he muttered. But when he looked in the rearview mirror, Adam's reflection wasn't there. Startled, he turned around and saw Adam sitting exactly where he'd been, eyes closed, earbuds in. The mirror must have caught the angle wrong, he told himself. But a cold prickle ran down his spine anyway. The fog was thickening outside, swallowing the world in pale gray. At 2:36 a.m., the GPS froze. The map blinked once, then went black. The clock on the dashboard started flashing 2:43 over and over again. Richard frowned, tapping the screen, but it didn't respond. The road ahead stretched endlessly, and yet he didn't recognize it. He'd driven this way before, dozens of times, but something was wrong. The trees seemed closer, taller, the road narrower. Then, from the back seat, Adam spoke barely above a whisper. "Do you see her?" Richard's hands tightened on the wheel. "See who?" Adam's eyes were still closed. "By the sign. She's waiting." Richard looked out through the windshield. The fog parted just enough for him to see a faint silhouette by the side of the road. A woman in a pale dress, her face hidden, standing perfectly still. He slowed down instinctively, heart thudding. When the car drew closer, she turned her head toward the light. But there was no face, just smooth, pale skin. The headlights flickered again, and she was gone. Richard slammed the brakes, tires screeching on the damp asphalt. "What the hell was that?" he breathed. But Adam didn't answer. The back seat was empty. Panic set in. He pulled the car to the side of the road, jumped out, and swung open the rear door. Empty. No footprints, no sound, nothing but the hum of the idling engine. The fog rolled around him like smoke, swallowing the headlights. He grabbed his radio. "Dispatch, I've lost my passenger. I think he..." The radio hissed violently, drowning out his words with sharp static. Then a voice came through, faint, distant, but familiar. "Keep driving." Richard froze. It wasn't dispatch. It was Adam's voice. He turned toward the car. Through the windshield, he could see movement, someone in the back seat. Slowly, mechanically, the rearview mirror adjusted itself until it was pointing straight at him. And from inside the car, the engine revved on its own. He stumbled backward, tripping into the ditch, just as the headlights blazed to life and the taxi began to roll forward, driverless. It accelerated into the fog and disappeared into the dark. When police found it later, the doors were open, the seats empty, and the radio still crackling with static. The timestamp on the dashcam read 2:43 a.m., frozen, looping endlessly. And in the final frame, barely visible, glee in the reflection of the glass. A woman's hand pressed against the inside of the window. Pale, smooth, faceless. By the time dawn broke, the fog had lifted, but the mystery surrounding the missing taxi only deepened. Detective Sarah Langford stood beside the vehicle, notebook in hand, her breath fogging in the cold morning air. The cab sat crooked on the shoulder of Hollow Ridge Road, doors wide open, headlights dimming with a faint hum. The interior was undisturbed except for one thing, a single handprint on the inside of the windshield. It was pale and smudged, almost too long, like someone had pressed their fingers there from the wrong side of the glass. The driver, Richard Clay, and his passenger, Adam Moore, were nowhere to be found. But the dash cam was still intact, blinking faintly. Sarah bagged it and sent it to the lab for review. Hours later, as the footage was played back at the precinct, the room grew silent. The video began normally, Richard greeting the passenger, the timestamp reading 2:28 a.m. The faint glow of city lights blurred behind them as they drove into the fog. But then came the moment the GPS froze and the digital clock flickered repeatedly. 2:43 a.m. Sarah leaned closer to the screen. For a brief second, the video distorted, revealing a strange flicker in the back seat, almost like someone else was there, sitting between Richard and Adam. Then, as the car slowed, a faint figure appeared in the beam of the headlights, a woman facing away from the camera. Her movements were too slow, too deliberate, like a recording played in reverse. When Richard stopped the car, the audio cut to static. Through the distortion, they could make out faint voices, Adam whispering, "She's waiting," followed by Richard's muffled panic. Then a moment later, Adam's voice again, clearer this time. "Keep driving." The detectives exchanged glances. Sarah froze the footage and zoomed in. The rearview mirror reflected something, not Adam, not Richard, but a third face. It was blurred, stretched unnaturally, as though the camera itself was struggling to capture it. The final seconds of the footage made everyone in the room lean back in silence. The car appeared empty, yet the camera kept recording. The passenger door opened on its own, the interior lights flickering weakly. Then a shadow crossed the lens' long hair, the faint outline of a woman bending toward the camera. A soft, breathy whisper filled the speakers. "Turn around." And then, nothing but black. Sarah replayed it 3 times, each time noticing new details. A movement behind the fogged glass. A faint reflection of another vehicle that wasn't there. The timestamp flashing 2:43 over and over again, a loop that wouldn't break. Her partner, Detective Graham, rubbed his temples. Could be tampering. Maybe someone edited the footage. Sarah shook her head. No, the metadata shows no cuts, no compression. This is raw. When they ran the plate records, something strange came up. The car had been previously reported not stolen but missing almost 2 years earlier. Same model, same VIN. The driver then? Also vanished during a late-night route on the same road. Sarah's hands trembled slightly. That's impossible. Vehicles don't disappear and reappear 2 years later. Unless, Graham muttered, it never left. That night, Sarah couldn't shake the sound of the whisper, that single phrase that seemed to echo in her head like it had been meant for her. She loaded the dash cam footage again at her desk, volume low. But when she paused it at the exact time stamp 2:43 a.m., she noticed something she hadn't before. The reflection in the windshield wasn't just a face. It was her own, and behind her, in the glass, another figure loomed blurred, motionless, faceless. The video shut itself off. Outside, in the station parking lot, her car alarm went off at exactly 2:43 a.m. By the next evening, Detective Sarah Langford couldn't escape the feeling that something was following her. Every clock in her house flickered to 2:43 a.m. during the night. Her dashcam light blinked even when the car was off. And sometimes, when she replayed the taxi footage, faint reflections moved behind her own silhouette on the screen as if the past was bleeding into the present. But logic still ruled her. She had to see Hollow Ridge Road herself. At midnight, Sarah drove out past the empty diner, past the broken street lamps, until the asphalt gave way to the same lonely stretch where Richard Clay's taxi had been found. The fog was thick again, heavier this time, glowing faintly blue under the moonlight. The moment her tires hit the shoulder, her GPS froze. The clock on her dashboard blinked. 2:43. "This is insane," she muttered, pulling over and stepping out. Her flashlight beam cut through the fog in thin, trembling lines. The road was silent. No insects, no wind, just the low hum of her engine behind her. She found tire tracks near the ditch, 2 sets. One belonged to Richard's taxi. The other, smaller, older, half-faded. They disappeared into the woods. Sarah followed them, the light flickering every few seconds. 10 paces in, something caught her eye. Hanging from a branch was a taximeter, rusted and cracked, its red digits still faintly glowing. $24.30. Beneath it, embedded in the mud, lay a driver's ID tag R. Clay. Her breath caught. When she turned back toward the road, her cruiser headlights flickered once then twice before shutting off completely. The fog thickened, swallowing everything in sight. Then she heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Approaching. "Who's there?" she called out. Her voice felt too small, too absorbed by the air. A figure emerged from the mist, tall, hunched, wearing a driver's jacket. His face was pale, drained of all color, and his eyes shimmered like glass. "You shouldn't have come," he rasped. "Richard?" Sarah whispered. He didn't answer. Instead, he turned and pointed deeper into the fog, where faint headlights glowed. "The fare's waiting." Her flashlight trembled in her grip. Behind her, she heard the faint click of a door unlocking. She turned. Her cruiser's back door was open. The dome light flickered. She raised her radio. "Dispatch, this is Detective Langford. I'm at Hollow Ridge, static." Then a voice, low and distorted, whispered through the speaker. "Keep driving." She dropped the radio. The fog began to move, not with the wind, but with purpose, curling around her feet like hands. When she looked up again, Richard was gone. The headlights ahead glowed brighter, illuminating a taxi sitting in the middle of the road. The same taxi, the same plate number. The driver's seat was empty. But in the back seat, through the glass, a shape shifted. Someone was sitting there. She stepped closer, drawn despite herself. Her reflection appeared in the window first, and then another face beside it, a woman's, smooth, pale, faceless. The car door clicked open, and Sarah felt the pull of cold air rushing past her, like being drawn underwater. Inside, the meter began to run again, 2.43. The radio on her shoulder crackled one last time. It wasn't static this time. It was her own voice. "Turn around." The dash cam of her cruiser, still recording from the roadside, captured her walking toward the taxi. The door opened. Then, the fog swallowed everything. When officers arrived hours later, they found her car idling, door open, engine cold. No boot prints. No sign of struggle. Only her badge lying on the asphalt beside a rusted taximeter still reading 243. The video evidence was logged but never explained. Each time investigators tried to play the footage, it looped endlessly from the same frame Sarah, stepping toward the car, the pale light of the taxi glowing brighter, her reflection vanishing. And if you drive down Hollow Ridge Road on a foggy night, they say sometimes you'll see that same taxi parked just off the shoulder meter running, headlights dim. The passenger seat empty, the back seat occupied, waiting for its next fare. If this story haunted you, the next one will keep you awake. Hit subscribe if you dare.